Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Atlanta, Georgia, it's time for Learning Insights, brought to you by Training Pros. When you have more projects than people, Training Pros can provide you with the right L&D consultant to start your project with confidence. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here, another episode of Learning Insights, and it's important to recognize our sponsor at Training Pros. We could not be sharing these stories without their support. Today on Learning Insights, we have Joyeta Samanta with Pulse Secure. Welcome, Joy.
Hi, Lee. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Before we get too far into things, tell us about Pulse Secure. How are you serving folks?
So Pulse Secure is a network security company. We started out 6 years ago. We provide easy, comprehensive, software-driven secure access solutions for B2B companies, helping them to really increase their employee productivity. And then
how did you get involved with the company?
That's a great question. My journey started on day one with Pulse. Pulse divested from Juniper Networks, and I interviewed there. Joined Pulse. It was an exciting place to be. We were building out a company from just a product, and my journey started 6 years ago.
And then you're the Director of Talent Success. What does that job entail?
Basically, that job is a complicated title for simply saying that I run the HR department. And so we do a lot of fun things, business partnering with the different leaders across various different functions, driving learning and development, internal communications, and so much more. Just talent acquisition and total rewards for our employees at Pulse.
Now, how important is the culture to your organization?
Honestly, it is our number one priority, and it starts with our CEO, who's very, very big on culture, values, and drives most decisions and outcomes through those. So I think it's absolutely critical.
Now, how, as being involved in the HR and you hear leadership tell you how important it is, how do you kind of take that messaging and that intent and spread it throughout the organization? What are some things you can do and maybe some advice you can share for others that are in a similar position where leadership's saying, hey, we want to invest in our culture. We want to, have a culture we're proud of that does the right things. So how do you take that information and then kind of deploy it out to the folks, in the front lines?
That's a great question. I think, and having worked with several different organizations and several different leaders, what I've realized is having a clear sense of vision and communicating it repeatedly to employees, what it means, how do you imbibe those cultures in everything you do, how you collaborate, how you communicate, how you drive performance, but really tying every aspect of the business success to those culture and values is critical. For example, at Pulse, our values are about delighting customers and having implicit trust and winning together as a team. And so for everything we do, whether it's internal customers, external customers, we really want to be very solution mindset, focused on driving delight for our customers. We work in an environment where there's self and mutual accountability, and we do have implicit trust with our coworkers and the people we work with. And the last of it is winning together as a team. We're really focused on collaborating in all different aspects. For example, our leaders host Ask Me Anythings every alternate week, where every question is fair game and they answer based on the questions that get upvoted. And so just having that environment where the leaders are driving and are open to questions, listening to the employees is super critical.
Now, how do you kind of measure success of something like that?
We see how people become way more inclusive and iterative in their thinking and planning. And you can actually, I think, measure it in how aligned people are at the end of it, because they're all driving towards the same mission, based on the same values. And so, that's how we measure productivity and performance, and every time we do quarterly assessments from an HR standpoint, when managers are driving these conversations with employees, it's really measured across those core values. But I think we have really high engagement scores because of it. That's one way to measure it. We have very low attrition rates. And so those are, again, things on how we measure the values and how people align themselves to it.
Now, when you're onboarding a new employee, how has that changed, because of the pandemic and the reliance now maybe on more work from home environment?
So our products, our biggest product, VPN, helps employees around the world work remotely. And so we have onboarded more than 200 people just during this pandemic, and fortunately been one of those companies who've paid out bonuses at 150% and really not had to have any layoffs. And so when we onboard people, people know that they are really partnering with an organization or coming to an organization that's helping everybody work remotely. And so day one, every single process that we do is virtually through Microsoft Teams or Zoom and so on. We have a buddy system, we have HR teams, IT teams, shipping laptops, but everybody comes together. But they also know that this is what we do as a business. And so it's very in line with every single action we do to drive remote access.
Now, what's some advice for the folks who aren't as good at it as you to maybe kind of help them through this in a way that, gives them some level of comfort and is effective as well? Because for some folks, this is a new thing. They hadn't had to rely on work from home, and they're kind of it's forcing them to do this now, and maybe they don't feel as comfortable or as confident. What are some of the kind of low-hanging fruit in order to make this a smooth process?
So regardless of whether you've been a remote employee or not, people struggle with it because it's ongoing and it's been so for a very long time, and everybody's remote. One of the things, small things I think people can do is stop apologizing for every time there is a distraction or there are kids playing in the background or there are pets climbing up. I mean, everybody understands that. Try and as much be on video. I think it's exhausting and people do have fatigue on facing a camera for 8 hours a day. But wherever possible, build that connection, at least for all the one-on-ones that you have, to really get to know the person, be on video. And I would say you don't have to be ready for all dressed up or such. People understand what situation everybody's experiencing. And so be real, be genuine, and it's okay to struggle through it. Most people are. These times, uncertain as they are, everybody's doing the best they can. And to really trying to be open and genuine about it is probably what I would recommend.
And it sounds like also to give people some grace because it is a challenging for everybody. And it shouldn't be something that we're all paranoid of every noise or sound or, your kid, like you said, your kid dropping something or the dog barking. I mean, we're all kind of in this together.
Yes, exactly.
Now, any advice for the young person who maybe just graduated college and is trying to get a job, and it seems like, everything is now remote and they're doing the best they can to be kind of noticed and found? What are some activities that catch your eye with young talent?
I think one of the things I've seen quite a few, we have a very strong internship program. And so a lot of the students coming in looking for jobs, they're very enthusiastic. They have bright ideas. And I think that's super critical to share. Networking through very many virtual events. We host several different webinars and conferences, but they can engage in. I would recommend that young people use LinkedIn or other platforms that they have to share what their journey is, what their dream jobs are. People are out there to help, but they should definitely reach out to as many people in their networks as possible to help. And being patient and positive is the most critical thing. And it doesn't matter if you're a young person or an older person or people going through M&A or change and losing jobs. I think being just patient through it and positive is super critical.
And then what is the pain that your clients are having where Pulse Secure is the solution?
Our clients are honestly, we started this Pulse Cares thing in May where we were giving out software licenses for people to try it out. And now that they've tried it and they love it. They want many, many, many devices to support their employees and so on around the world. And so what they're struggling with, I think, is scalability. And we, from our products, are definitely helping with both supportability and scalability of our products right now to help with our customers.
And that helps you stand out?
Yes, definitely. And our customer success teams are brilliant, and they're 24/7 located all over the world. And I think that's super helpful to the customers at this point, and very reliable. So we have had a lot of customers switch over from other competitors to Pulse because of the reliability and the predictability and stability of our products.
Now, as this year is kind of coming to a close, how are you, what are some of the things you're looking forward to? And also, what are some of the things you're forecasting? Because it seems like this would be a tricky kind of environment to be forecasting into next year.
Definitely tricky, a lot of uncertain elements. I would say what we're most looking forward to. So we're coming up on the holiday season, and Pulse as a community does a lot for local and global communities. So one thing we're really looking forward to is our Giving Day, as well as appreciation event. Our appreciation event is internally for Pulsers, and our Giving Day is externally for our community. So super enthusiastic because every year our employees and leaders go above and beyond and surprise us with how much they can do. So sharing those stories is something we're definitely looking forward to. In terms of planning for 2021, we do the best we can in terms of having a lot of variables and assumptions in the books, keeping a little bit of buffer. And we do realize that the growth that we have during this pandemic is not sustainable longer term, but planning around ways to diversify across our various products and still continue on the extraordinary growth path.
So now for you, what's the most rewarding part of your job?
And this should be super easy. The most rewarding part of my job is driving change in people's behaviors, somehow helping people think in a different way, making a small or a big impact in whichever community we're serving in. I think that's been the most amazing part. Even helping interns get full-time jobs or giving interns their full internships successfully, they're all rewarding parts of my job.
Now, can you share a story where maybe you took somebody under your wing, maybe mentored them and helped them get to the next level, or maybe somebody on your team has done that?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the, I think it was 2 years ago, one of the interns we had was part of the operations team. And I myself was part of an operations team maybe 6-7 years ago, and then transitioned to HR. And having told my story and mentored them through it to understand the business comprehensively and not just from one particular department and division, they ended up moving to marketing and driving marketing operations. And that story and that change, that they could see something comprehensively across the business and drive meaningful impact where they can truly see what they're doing and the results immediately after, driving them towards that, I think was fascinating and something I'm super proud of, to be able to help with that.
Yeah, it's amazing the impact people can make on other people. And sometimes you don't take a moment to really appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. And people may not have thought about it if they didn't have that conversation, if they didn't watch other people do it and learn from it. So I think it's really important that we continue the conversations where people eyes are open to something completely different.
And then, like you said earlier, it's the kind of the leadership really drives the culture. And then the culture, if you have a strong culture, really kind of creates more leaders. So it's this kind of win-win-win all the way around.
Absolutely. I think more and more leaders across the world are realizing that culture, the role of HR is super, super critical. It's not an afterthought. It's not just a support function. Yes, but it's slowly changing for the better.
And it's one of those things that if you're not intentional and mindful about it, there's going to be a culture anyway. So you might as well put some energy into shaping it in the direction you'd like it to be.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So now if somebody wanted to learn more about PulseSecure, what is the best way to find you or somebody on your team?
I think just going to our website, pulsesecure.net, or if they're interested in learning more about it, they can email careers@pulsesecure.net, and would be happy to help.
Now, what do you need more of right now? Are you looking for more talent?
So Lee, honestly, we are coming up close on a possible acquisition by Ivanti. So we right now are continuing to do business as usual, help our customers, not hiring as we were a month ago. We had almost 100 open recs, but we are just preparing as we can for the acquisition, as well as helping our customers at this time.
Well, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much, Lee.
And thank you for sharing your story today.
Absolutely.
All right. This is Lee Cantor. We will see you all next time on Learning Insights. And remember, this work could not be done without the support of our sponsor, Training Pros. Please support them so we can continue to share these important stories.
Thank you for listening. For more information about Training Pros, visit their website at training-pros.com.